Welcome to S.O.S. Beyond the Soup Kitchen. I'm your host, J.C. Luckman. Today I'll take you inside the weekly feeding ministry called S.O.S. for Serving Our Savior. It's not your average soup kitchen by any means. The volunteers genuinely care about the needy, and it certainly shows. This 2-hour service gives these less fortunate people a chance to socialize, keep warm, get a substantial meal, and be entertained. It truly is a gift from God. Let us begin the tour, shall we? It's about 4:30 in the afternoon, and a few volunteers have been here since 9 a.m., including Director Joan Coyle and co-director Jean Morse. A couple of days in advance, they plan everything out, then shop for all the groceries needed to cook for about 100 people. Once Thursday comes around, they begin cooking early in the morning. Last-minute preparations are made as more volunteers begin to show up. These helpers have assigned jobs and get right to work. Among them is our gifted piano player, Susan. Before the guests are served, Jean reads to them a story that she has personally selected for the night.
Of free life this new year. God bless you.
Now that she's finished, Joan takes the microphone to lead us in prayer.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day.
Afterwards, the feasting begins. The guests are served with special consideration for their individual needs. Don't think the workers go hungry. They eat here too. In a separate room, our angel volunteers are given supper. They work in shifts, of course. Some eat while some work. Then they switch. As the guests eat, the helpers come around to clear off the tables. Dinner was another great success, but we're not through yet. Joan wheels a cart around for people to choose a dessert. Once they're full and happy, the guests begin to leave. On their way out, they receive a pastry treat for the road. Next, it's time to clean up. It's a group effort, and everybody pitches in. Tables and chairs are folded up and stored. All the garbage is disposed of. All pots, pans, dishes, and silverware are washed and put away. Upon completion of this taxing chore, the volunteers head home. Thanks to the help of all of them, another night at S.O.S. ran smoothly. I did get a chance to interview Jean and Joan, and they were both extremely nice and cooperative. Here are some clips from our time together. Thank you both for meeting with me tonight.
It's our pleasure. Yes, it is.
So, this really is a great thing that you're doing here. How do you think the guests feel about this whole establishment?
Well, I get a lot of feedback when I'm standing at the door and we're giving out the treats that we have each night. And so many people want to be hugged, and they want to kiss you, and they tell you so many nice things about the meal or the supper program. And I think that they're happy to be here, and I think that especially because they come back.
Yes, they're pretty loyal.
Well, to be very honest with you, we've had comments such as, if we didn't come here to eat, we'd starve. We thank you so much. Comments of tasted just like my mother used to make, and I love that soup,
Yes.
and I
I
just get excited about eating because it's. One woman told me tonight for her mother that if she didn't come to these suppers, she wouldn't have any nutritional food, really, because she wouldn't cook for herself. You know, they get to a certain age too; they don't want to, they get depressed, so they come here for have their spirits lifted.
Now, why did you decide to start this whole feeding ministry?
Well, I think I'll take that question
Yes, I think
because they approached, at one time, one of our studying minister seminarians approached us. They had an evangelistic, justice and evangelistic meeting going on, and they had called me because they knew that I had done some meals along with Jean on a once-a-month basis for taking meals to homeless people in the motel. And they thought maybe I could give them some insight into some of the needs in the community. And I had no idea why they called me at first. I mean, this I found out later. But from that, a committee was drawn up and surveys were sent out in our church to see what the people felt was the greatest need in our community. And the majority of the surveys came back that they thought it was a homeless situation because they've encountered a lot of people on the street. So with that, we decided, we were under an interim pastor at the time, Pastor John Lund, who encouraged us, and through various meetings and through the committee, it was established that we should go forward with it. And I just happened to be sitting next to one of our beautiful elders who turned around and said, "Joan, you know how to cook, so why don't you be the cook?" And I saw something of a designated thing, and I just looked at it and laughed. I mean, I can cook, but I didn't know I could be cooking for this many. So I went to the library and got a book out on church suppers for 50 people, and from there we just kept adding and adding as God would send these people in. And we opened up in July '92.
So, as of right now, what are your responsibilities as director and co-director? We start with you, Jean.
Well, my responsibilities really depend on Joan and what she feels I can be a help to. She will tell me or ask me to do. I am in charge of trying to do a story each week, and basically I'm not in charge of anything in the kitchen. Whatever needs to be done in the gym or in fellowship hall, that seems to be what I'm best at. Joan's best in the kitchen.
Jean is my right arm, though, and every volunteer after that is a part of the whole ministry. It's not, there is a directorship, but my directorship is basically planning the meals. We purchase everything together. I do the ordering through the food bank. Sometimes we get a lot of things from them, from Long Island Cares. I also have a lot of paperwork. There's thank you notes, there's contacts, there's community service. The students from schools need letters of the work they've done here and so forth. And there's monthly reports, there's grants, and there's renewal forms that, we're tied in with the state. We get inspected. Things have to be up to par. So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that people don't realize. So for us, it's not just Thursday. It's many, many hours. And Pastor asked me how many hours recently, and I said on Thursday alone, it's 8 hours. I've done 9 even. But the rest of the week, I never, kept track. But even last night, I was on the phone. I had to make 4 different phone calls. A lot of phone calls and recalls. People contact me. I might not be home, then I got to recall them and that kind of thing. So.
We also occasionally go to seminars. Long Island Cares has seminars quite frequently, and we try at least to do 3 a year.
Well, now, shifting our focus, what do you think of our volunteers?
Without them, there would be no ministry. We're all volunteers, even Jean and I, but without them. And we're just the two at the top seat, maybe, that sort of put things in order, and but they're the ones that do. It's really, everybody's a cog in the wheel.
Well, we love every one of them.
Yep.
And right in the very beginning, Joan has called us angel volunteers, and that was a special thing that has traveled with us. That's what each one of them is, an angel volunteer. And they're so faithful and willing, and we can't say, I don't think we can say anything against them. We love them all.
And they're all from different churches.
And that's
we're
true,
very
too.
ecumenical.
Anybody would come down, they would see how much fun it is. People have a job to do. I mean, even as far as doing pots and pans. But if you look at them, they're smiling, they're laughing, they're turning and talking to somebody, and everybody seems to have fun.
Yeah, they're happy serving the Lord.
Yeah, they're happy. That's the key. They're
Nobody
happy
serves
serving
us.
the Lord.
Have their spirits lifted, and there is a camaraderie among the people. So it serves a lot of purposes.
Now I have a question for Jean. You tell one of your stories every single week, right? What I want to know is, where do they all come from?
A lot of people ask me that question. I did receive, I'm going to say at least 15% of them from friends of mine that have sent me emails. They know that I do this, and whenever something good comes up, they try to feed me through that. I also was able to find a website about, I have to say that it is an ego boost almost, because many people will say something to me as they leave, and that the story just happened to touch them or reminded them of something. And I know one thing, the Lord has his hand in it all the time. So if it wasn't for him giving me a story, I wouldn't have any.
Okay. In conclusion, could you both give me one word to sum up your relationship with the guests, with the volunteers, and the whole general experience here at S.O.S.?
Well, it's a loving, it's loving, and I think that's what I'll say.
The love is behind it, and that is from the Lord.
Well, once again, I have to say this is a wonderful thing, and I must thank you. Thank you both for giving me the time to conduct this interview with you.
Thank you for asking.
I was just going to say that too.
And it's been a good night.
Thank you. God bless.
It was nice meeting with you.
God bless.
Good night.
Thank you.
This has been a terrific experience, and I've enjoyed it greatly. In putting this video together, I've realized what makes S.O.S. so extra special. It's teamwork, it's kindness, and it's God's divine love. The generosity that I've seen here tonight was unbelievable. This is J.C. Luckman signing off. After the night was through, I asked for dessert, and all the volunteers made sure I got it. Got it good.